Okay, there's a few things I want to do a video and get uploaded tomorrow. Mercury, let's get up our date. Mercury goes retrograde in 10 days. On Halloween, actually, Mercury will go retrograde. And we deal with that twice a year. Also, I want to talk about the Ring of Fire. We have an eclipse on the 25th into the 26th. We won't really see it here in the United States, but it will be over Saudi Arabia. And it's a unique eclipse. We have these rare eclipses where the moon doesn't cover the sun completely. It's not at that exact position to where it completely blocks out the sun, and it leaves the ring of fire. And it'll be happening on the day the sun is born in the heavens. It's born out of the Milky Way galaxy right there. On the right after the equinox. The sun dies on the equinox, and it's born 3 days later. This is actually my older sister's birthday. Christmas baby. So I guess it'll be in the 26th in Saudi Arabia, but not for us. The hours, it's just right there a few minutes away. So we have the Ring of Fire. Another sign coming up that will happen. Mercury will be out of its retrograde by then. Let's watch our Mercury retrograde. Let's bring him back. Here we are. He goes retrograde on the 31st. We got a lot coming up. There's so much coming up. Yeah, he goes retrograde on the 31st. He comes out of the retrograde on the 21st. So much going on, coming out of the retrograde on the 21st, coming right into the Venus-Jupiter conjunction. We also have Pluto-Saturn conjunction coming up right after that. Neptune. It should be out of its retrograde period by then. 39-26. No. Neptune is still retrograde. Let's see when he comes out. Okay, right after that. Just on the 25th, he comes out of his retrograde. And we'll move into Pisces. And we'll have the end of that where you have the imagination, Neptune, that's born in an air sign. I belong to the Neptune in Libra air sign. Do you have that? Air signs, the word that comes out of the Greek, I talk about this all the time, pneumatic. It has to do with spirit, breath, things you can't touch, the intangible, and the imagination being the go-between. The imagination is the go-between the physical world and the spiritual world. Uranus, so subtly, just going to ease right on through that fire. You're not even going to know it's there till it gets ready to leave. Mars, when do we get Mars out of Virgo? That's real important. That's that nasty attitude everybody's got right now. Mars coming out on the 30th of November. So really, for the next 5 weeks, right up until this point, when Mars will finally be out of there, Mercury is coming out of his retrograde. We have the Venus-Jupiter conjunction on the 23rd, 24th. On the 24th. That last week in November, everything's going to change. Mars changes. Mercury comes out of retrograde. Neptune comes out of retrograde. Jupiter-Venus conjunct. Saturn's getting ready to conjunct Pluto again. And we have a Mars, the moon hosting Mars here. So much going on. Really fast. It's going to be happening really fast. You know, it's these rare times when we have all of this happening at one time. And all of it right here. Really, most of it is just right here in what we call quadrants. It's coming out up to the Milky Way from the spring equinox, the fall equinox right here until the Milky Way is considered autumn or fall. It's the wilderness of Zen. It's the darkness. It's the darkest part of the zodiac, and all of the constellations fall in this. Right now, the Milky Way marks it, but that's not always true. The Milky Way right now is marking the summer and winter solstice, but that changes, and after we come to a time that it will mark the spring equinox and the fall equinox. But it's the great celestial river. What else is going on? There's just nothing over here. Nothing but Uranus over there in that fire. Cardinal fire. A lot of people are going to just get burnt down. There's going to be a lot of fires. This whole time, the big fires don't happen till Uranus gets ready to leave. And that's when it's going to get ugly with fire. Right now, we're dealing with, the main thing we're dealing with right now is that Mars, just emotionally unstable, people getting very upset, very angry. All of this is aspecting this Saturn-Pluto on the mutable cross. You got to remember how everything trines and squares each other, empowers, disempowers, and opposes. And so this is a trine on the mutable cross. So you've got the Sun, Mars, Pluto, and Saturn there right now. Jupiter and Neptune are on the fixed cross. Venus, Mercury, Uranus are on the cardinal cross. Venus at home right now. I felt just a big shift when Venus came out of Virgo, out of that debilitation. It was like a relief. As a matter of fact, I have felt quite a big shift this week. It's been strange, to say the least. It's been really strange, especially with all the negativity with Mars here. Mars will cool down when he gets in his own house over here of water. That's when Mars will cool down. And we'll get a break from that. When's he going to be there? Let's get him into Scorpio, his own house, and find coming into Libra. And on the 7th of January, then a big emotional cool down will happen. Mars is favorable here, but nothing like here. I really dislike Mars on that mutable cross at all, especially Virgo and Pisces, that feminine axis. I want to talk about the higher self for a minute. You know, when I was at the library going through my emails, and I caught some of the comments that were coming down on the video I made, and there's so many of you on my channel that have experienced a lot of things that I've experienced in my life. I just can't get over how many of you have had your appendix removed. That alone is stunning. Because had we been born 100 years ago, none of us would be here. It's just something that, it's like a kill switch. Even the word appendix, you added at the end, it's an afterthought. And it's full of information, but most people don't use it. But to me, it was a kill switch. It doesn't really seem to have a purpose that we understand in the body. But so many of you, it's just crazy. It really is. You know, I think in my own family, I have one cousin that's had her appendix removed, and we were just born a few months apart. And she's my age, and we too, as teenagers, both had our appendix removed. But I can't think of anybody else in my family, or even anybody else that I have ever known, that has had their appendix removed. Yet, it's in mass numbers on my channel. And it's really odd in the number of you that have had near-death experiences. The list goes on. It's really a crazy list. And like I said, it used to kind of weird me out a little bit. It doesn't anymore. I get it now. But like I said, going through some of the comments about it, when you read them, it can be very disparaging. I'm sure sometimes when I talk about my past, it seems very sad. I'm not sad about it. It has been a challenge and a struggle, but for the life of me, I've asked myself many times in my life, would I go back and change anything? And there are times, yeah, I'd like to go back and change this, this, and this. But if it cost me what I know now, the inner peace that I have, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't change a thing. Like my mother, there's nothing to forgive. I don't have to forgive her. She did the best she could do. She did what she thought was right, even if it was selfish. So I don't hold any of it against her at all. I've not been the most perfect person in my life. I've made huge mistakes. I overcompensated for my child. I just smothered him to death. I did just as bad of a job because I overcompensated. I didn't allow him to live his own life. I lived it for him. I thought I was protecting him, right? The mother lioness is going to protect her cubs. But that's another story. What I want, my point of bringing all this up is that the despair and the desperation that some of you are in, and it might appear that is sad or discouraging, or but to me, I don't see it that way. Some of you are so close to having your third eye open. You're so close. It's just a matter of just let go. I don't even know what you're hanging on to now. Just go ahead and let go. And I'm not telling you to commit suicide or give up. It's just you don't have to do any of that. I don't have the words. All I can say is let go, surrender, give up. But that's exactly what I did. And that's how it's stated to us in Scripture. They actually use the word surrender. And that's what you do. What have you left to hang on to here? And when you do that, when you cut all ties with this reality, then you get in touch with your higher self. Now, you're not alone. Your higher self is there all the time. Always has been, always will be. There's nothing you can do to get rid of it. It is constantly communicating with you, watching over you, guiding you. It will intercede if it has to. I guess in a way, I had got to the point that day, I was mad about it. I was mad. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm done with this place. I'm done. And that's where I was at. You'd call it surrender, but there was, I wasn't in a pity party. I was angry. I'm finished here. I had had enough that day. So there's no ritual that's required. I'm sure that through the ages, the mystics have found ways that to do an experiment, you must be able to repeat the experiment, correct? So they find a ritual or a ceremony. Mine was very unceremoniously done. There was no ritual to it. But after reading the Bible and then reading other scriptures, especially the Oriental ones, I understand completely now. I really get it. And your despair, the situation that you have come to in your life is actually a gift. And it can open door to the biggest gift that any of us can ever have. It's like finding the goose that laid the golden egg. You manifest this light body. It's eternal. You become aware there's no death. There's just no such thing as death. We're even told in the Bible, in that day they shall seek death and not find it, because it doesn't exist. That's a fabrication. I die daily, right? Death is a process, not an event. It's something we do daily. When you're not, if there's no change and you're not growing, then you're dying. Everything is in cycles, and it comes to an apex, and then it starts its declination. And this world eats itself. The earth turns inside out. We have sinkholes that are sucking everything into the ground, and then on the other side there's a volcano spewing it out. This world turns itself inside out. And that's what we're supposed to do to ourselves. Turn ourselves inside out. Now, it's my opinion, and I don't think anybody could talk me out of this opinion unless they had some type of logical scientific proof. But I'm pretty much convinced that when we are conceived in the womb, in the egg, when the egg is fertilized in the womb, it is male and female. And if the egg manifests a girl, then the masculine aspect moves into the third eye. As a matter of fact, we would probably find that the third eye is probably one of the first things that manifests in the body. And somebody asked me, do animals have them? Absolutely. Do you have to have third eye to have consciousness? No, I don't know that a tree or grass has a third eye, but it definitely has consciousness. The third eye seems to be for the animal kingdom because we're cut off from nature, so to speak. We're cut off. We're not in tune. Domesticated animals are cut off. We domesticate them. We cut them off from that link. Maybe that's what happened to us as a species as we evolve into our conscious mind. We get cut off. The more we move away from nature into technology, the further we're moving away from that pineal gland connecting. And there's going to be a tipping point. So I'm also convinced that your higher self is part of your soul. If you're a positive charge, it's a negative charge. Call it masculine, feminine, whatever you want. But it has to do with electricity, and it's a positive charge and a negative charge. But it's one whole. You're just one. Like we have a conscious mind, a subconscious mind, and imagination. We have this being, this us, this construct of thought, but it's broken into 3 different segments. One we're not aware of at all. Like our higher self. You can talk to your higher self all day long. It hears every word you say. It knows what you're thinking. It knows more about you than you know about yourself. That really fascinated me, was that instantly I knew he knew everything about me. I'd had a really bad day, and he knew everything about me. He knew what happened to me that day, how I felt about it. Nothing is ever lost. Your higher self is 100% connected to every memory you will ever have. And nothing is lost. Nothing. Funny, this day, January the 7th, that was the love of my life, was born on that day. On the same year as me. He is 10 days older than I am. I'll never see him again. Oh, another great day there, too, with Venus there. Great position for Venus. Well, I guess that about wraps that up. That's about all I want to say. Let me bring this back to now. $47, yeah, that's right time. Okay, also yesterday in comments, got a lot of questions about charts. By the end of this week, well, if I had internet on, it'd be in 2 days. By the next time I get to the library, I should be finished uploading charts. Now I need to make a video, and I'll do that next week. I do have about 3 charts that have an issue with them. I have sent emails. If you will respond to that, then we can get on with it. And then I have some charts that were requested by mail. And the only way I have to get you this is if you send me an email. 2 of them I have done, and you gave me your email address in the information through the mail, and I've tried to I'm not putting something in right because it's not a valid address. So if you'll contact me, I'll get you your chart. And then I'm going to have to do a video because I have like 6 charts that nobody's claimed. I do them, I send them to the email, and you're either not getting it or I don't know what's going on. But I'm sitting on about 6 right now. Some of them are months old that that I posted quite a while ago, and you've not watched it, right? I can go through and see if you've watched the video in logistics, and it's not there. As far as other charts are concerned, here's what's been going on, and I've not said anything about it because I knew it would only make the problem worse. But my shit got so out of hand, it's been crazy. And I'm just now at the point that I can breathe. I can see daylight now that I'm fixing to get out of this mess. And all of the charts are going to be done. So when you have been hitting me on the email requesting a chart, I put it in a folder. I put your request in a folder. And before I take any more requests, I want to finish what I've got done, and then I'll let you know. And I've already done that. Now, here's what's going on. What I've got now is fixed to be finished. It's just a matter of getting uploaded in those 3 charts. And then I'm going to take a few days off. I'm getting kind of burnout from it. And I already have a partial list for November. There are 3 spots left for November. So if you want one, it's first come, first serve. Just send me an email and we'll go from there. I am not taking requests for December yet, but I will. I'm going to do something for Christmas. I haven't decided yet how I'm going to work that, but it'll only be about 10 or 12. I'm not going to overload my donkey, but I will do what I can. All right, and I hope that those of you whose charts I do, I hope you learn to carry your own cross. Not only learn to carry your cross, but to learn to do this, and so that you can do it for your friends and family, right? This is just the beginning of this. There are other channels out there, like I said, that are also, they see the alchemy in it, in the astrology, that astrology and alchemy is one thing. And when you use them together like that, all of those traditions fall away, and you're left with something that's pretty fascinating, to say the least. It's kept my attention for a couple of years now on a daily basis, and generally I would get bored with that. But I don't. Even though I'm doing charts damn near every day now, it's always different. Even people that are born just days apart, just the nuances in it, just the slight variations of the moon or the time of day that you're born can change everything. And it's like reading stories. It's like reading your life stories. It's very interesting to me. And especially the type of people that come on my channel. It's not just anybody's charts I'm doing. It's within that, it's a very peculiar generation. I've talked about you guys. You, Pluto and Virgo people. You people on the mutable cross, period. But just a very peculiar generation that's going to bring about a lot of change. And y'all have a really hard time with Venus, Mercury, and Mars. Venus, Mercury, and Mars, it's either a problem or it's either really good or really bad when it comes to the feminine axis of the mutable cross. Venus and Mercury, on one side, they're exalted. On the other side, they're debilitated. And then Mars just comes through there wreaking havoc. It's time to show your ass. This is what people do here. They become bipolar, unstable, and they'll just show their ass. All right, I'm cutting this there. I wanted to talk about the Ring of Fire, get you ramped up for it. I'm going to do a video on just that event coming up on the 25th there. But just hang on emotionally. It's going to be okay. It'll get better when Mars moves into Libra, because Mars loves being in Venus's house, and it's opposite his house of Aries, but he'll really cool down. Everything will get so much better emotionally when Mars moves into Scorpio. It'll fire back up a little bit when he moves back on that mutable cross, but on the masculine axis, so not so bad. And then Mars is exalted in Capricorn. So we've got like really bad, okay, good, okay, great. And so once he leaves Virgo, it's just going to get better straight up through Capricorn. All right. Y'all know what to do. And I specifically wanted to talk about Mars because of where everybody's at emotionally. Connect with your higher self. You may not hear your higher self, but it hears you, and it will respond. And sometimes we don't hear because we're not listening. And your higher self speaks to you in the silence. And I know it's hard to find silence in this noisy world. But even if you find that quiet place, there's always that electrical hum, that buzz going on that's really hard to tune out. I've stated before, I forget the name of it, the Thyboa prophecies or something like that, where they stated that the biggest problem on the planet was not starvation, it was not overpopulation, it was not nuclear war, it was not nature, cataclysm, but the biggest problem on the planet was one of noise, because frequency dictates DNA. That's why when the sun moves into Aquarius, we're going to change. And then when it moves into Capricorn, we'll change again. And our DNA changes, not just us, all the animals. They call it evolution. It's transmutation. The great work of nature to bring about the divine consciousness, the cosmic mind, so that we reconnect. To me, our bodies, we're just born into our bodies. Our spirit is like the sperm cell, and it goes into the body and it manifests this light body. And when this thing we call death is actually birth, where you shed the skin, the veil completely comes down, and you see your new light body, and you realize there is no death, and you reconnect. All of your memories come back. Sometimes I don't know if I want all of my memories to come back, but we are told that all of our tears will be wiped away. And that's another thing about being out of body, because you're not connected to the pain, you're not connected to the body, you don't have, there is no pain, there is no emotional attachment to anything physical anymore. They say, I guess kind of like in the Matrix, where the guy kept wanting to go back into the Matrix so he could eat a steak. But those are attachments. Those attachments, that wanting that steak or a cigarette or whatever, that's just going to keep you here, right? Those are attachments. Even little things, even the little things can have a bigger hold on you than you would ever think. To me, that's the number one purpose of the opiate epidemic, which it was masterminded. Back in the 70s, they banned methaqualone in the United States so they could push opium, because methaqualone is not addictive. If you took one quaalude, the next day you don't want another one. You're still high for 2 or 3 days down the road. You're fuzzy in the head. So the addictive, repetitive, recycle, buy some more wasn't there. So they banned it. And now your only option was an opiate derivative. And there's only one chemical on the market that's pharmaceutical, a painkiller that does not have opium in it. And I wouldn't say it's any damn better. It's the addictive qualities aren't as bad, but it's got its own issues. But me, I like kratom. To me, there is no addictive quality to kratom. When you forget to take it, your pain reminds you. When your pain comes back, oh, I forgot to take my kratom. And the pain warns you when. All right, that's that. I'll see you next week, people. I'm not going to do one on Halloween. I think y'all know the answer to that, right? We've talked about Valentine's Day is a day set up so that you will have a baby in the week of Valentine's. And that goes back to Catholicism. Another video for another day. Go be the kindness. Be so kind it hurts. To love your enemy. Sometimes love can be walking away. Think about what I just said. And consider becoming a sponsor to this channel or making a donation. Every little bit helps. And thank you to those of you who are donating to my I Want to Move fund. I Want to Move Out of State fund. I am up to $526 now. Thank you so much. That's your donations. I'm adding my own as well.